Tesla has issued a clear order to its major suppliers in the United States, requiring them to completely stop using China-made components within 1 to 2 years. This is not a temporary decision. As early as the beginning of this year, the plan had already been quietly set in motion. Some China-made parts have already been replaced, and the remaining ones are scheduled to be replaced as soon as possible. Now, this trend of de-Sinicization is gradually spreading across the American auto industry. It is worth noting that in 2024, Tesla sold nearly 660,000 electric vehicles in the Chinese market, generating more than $20 billion in revenue, which accounted for 36% of its global total. This is a market many companies dream of. But now Tesla is making money in China while excluding the Chinese supply chain. Will this behavior anger China? In today's video, we will explain why Tesla insists on stopping the use of China-made auto parts and what measures China may take next. If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. As the most successful new energy vehicle company in the world, Tesla is definitely a name you cannot avoid no matter what. Over the past decade, it has completely changed the face of electric vehicles and directly pushed the entire industry a big step forward. As of 2024, the company's global electric vehicle sales have exceeded 7.6 million units, making it one of the most popular EV brands worldwide. Among them, Tesla's Model Y is undoubtedly the king at the top of the pyramid. In 2023, the Model Y achieved an astonishing sales volume of 1.22 million units, successfully surpassing the Toyota Corolla to become the best-selling car in the world. This is undoubtedly a milestone event for the entire automotive industry. But within the global market, China is absolutely Tesla's most important and most critical core market. Based on what I know, Tesla truly entered the Chinese market in 2013. At that time, electric vehicles had not yet become mainstream in China, and Tesla was only a newly emerging EV brand in the United States. But it was also in that year that Tesla delivered its first Model S to a Chinese customer. No one expected that this brand would soon ignite the entire Chinese electric vehicle market. In just over 10 years, Tesla has sold more than 2.3 million electric vehicles in China, and China has grown from a potential market into Tesla's most important growth engine worldwide. In 2024 alone, Tesla sold nearly 660,000 vehicles in China, generating more than $20 billion in revenue, accounting for 36% of its global total. This means that for every 3 cars Tesla sells, 1 is sold to a Chinese consumer. Among all foreign brands, Tesla also firmly holds the #1 position in China's EV market. But unexpectedly, Tesla is now demanding the phase-out of China-made components and shifting to suppliers in Mexico, Vietnam, or India. So why is Tesla determined to stop using China-made auto parts? In fact, Tesla's decision to de-China itself is mainly driven by policy pressure from the US government. We all know that in recent years, the West's precaution against China's new energy industry has run through its entire policy system. Starting in August 2022, the United States passed the Inflation Reduction Act. On the surface, it encourages American consumers to buy electric vehicles by providing a tax credit of up to $7,500. But the act includes one restriction. As long as the minerals, components, or key raw materials used in a battery involve a foreign entity of concern, the subsidy will be directly canceled. And even before that, a large number of Chinese companies' factories and material suppliers had already been placed on the US restriction list. At the same time, Trump's intense tariff war has also forced Tesla to start de-Chinization. In May 2024, the United States announced a 25% tariff on Chinese lithium batteries, and the tariff on complete vehicles was raised to as much as 100%. And according to Trump's team, more countries' components may face even higher tariffs in the future. Under such circumstances, if Tesla continues relying on supply chains from China and Mexico to supply the U.S. market, the cost of each vehicle may increase by $2,000 to $3,000. You have to know, the U.S. market accounts for 40% of Tesla's global sales, and American consumers are very sensitive to subsidies and tax incentives, especially for mid- and lower-end models. If subsidies cannot be obtained, sales may fall by as much as 20%. In this situation, Tesla is actually pushed to a crossroads where it must make a choice: keep the subsidies from the U.S. market or continue using the Chinese supply chain. In this context, Tesla has no choice but to begin implementing its de-Sinicization plan. And starting in 2023, Tesla began adjusting its supply chain strategy. 50% of the components used in its U.S. factories came from China, of which 20% were directly imported and 30% were routed through Mexico. By April 2024, Tesla formally required suppliers to shift production capacity to North America and Europe, and battery components also began shifting toward Korea and Canada. Starting in November this year, Tesla issued a new directive to its suppliers. Components used in U.S. factories should avoid made in China as much as possible. Key parts, such as electronic modules and sensors, which used to rely heavily on China, have begun undergoing a full supply chain replacement, with the goal of achieving complete de-Sinicization starting in 2026. You may wonder if Tesla isn't worried about offending China by doing this, and whether it fears China might retaliate. In fact, it is not easy for any electric vehicle manufacturer to completely get rid of Chinese-made parts. Taking Tesla as an example, it currently has over 400 Tier 1 suppliers in China, 60 of which have been incorporated into its global supply chain, supporting the daily operations of factories in Fremont, California, Austin, Texas, and Berlin, Germany. Many key components of Tesla cars sold in the United States, such as batteries, electronic control systems, and body structural parts, still heavily rely on Chinese suppliers. An unavoidable reality is that the cost and efficiency advantages of the Chinese supply chain are simply difficult to replace in the short term. Data shows that the cost of automotive parts produced in China is 15% to 20% lower than comparable products in Southeast Asia, and the delivery cycle is also shortened by over 30%. Taking Tesla's U.S. factory's annual production of 1 million vehicles as an example, if Chinese-made parts are entirely replaced, the cost per vehicle will increase by approximately $1,000 to $2,000. If Tesla chooses to find alternative suppliers locally in the U.S., its overall cost could immediately rise by 15% to 20%. Ultimately, it is the U.S. consumers who will bear this part of the extra cost. Moreover, to circumvent U.S. policy restrictions, many Chinese suppliers have already begun shifting part of their production capacity to Mexico. As long as the products enter the North American Free Trade Area, they can easily avoid relevant tariffs. Data indicates that in 2024, the production capacity of Mexican auto factories directly increased by 15%. At the same time, Chinese companies are also entering the U.S. market as non-Chinese made through factories in Mexico and Southeast Asia. In the battery sector, Tesla has chosen to cooperate with Panasonic and LG, expanding the capacity of its Nevada factory to 35 GWh. As for raw materials, the upstream lithium supply is gradually shifting to Australia and Canada, with the goal of progressively dismantling the entire supply chain from China's grasp. According to the plan, the localization rate of parts for the Model Y produced in the U.S. is expected to reach 60% by the first half of 2025, and all batteries will be assembled in Texas. It is evident that this series of arrangements by Tesla is intended to meet the requirements of U.S. domestic policies while simultaneously minimizing damage to its cooperation interests with China. Furthermore, Tesla's adjustment this time is only targeting the U.S. market and does not mean a complete withdrawal from China. After all, Tesla's Shanghai Gigafactory, since its production start at the end of 2019, has performed astonishingly. The factory covers an area of 860,000 square meters and has as many as 400 local suppliers, thus building a highly complete ecosystem. To date, the Shanghai factory has cumulatively produced 3 million vehicles, of which over 1 million have been exported. Last year alone, the cars delivered by this factory accounted for almost half of Tesla's global deliveries. In October this year, its monthly export volume exceeded 35,000 vehicles, setting a new high for the past 2 years. Domestic sales also reached 61,500 vehicles. It can be said that Shanghai is not just Tesla's manufacturing center, but more like its global warehouse. At the beginning of each new quarter, new cars are centrally shipped from here and exported to Europe, the Asia-Pacific region, and other places to regulate the supply and demand rhythm of the global market. Without this factory, Tesla's global delivery efficiency would inevitably be significantly compromised. Now, led by Tesla, the trend of de-Sinicization is rapidly spreading across the U.S. automotive industry. Recently, General Motors has issued a clear directive requiring the supply chains of all models produced in North America to achieve complete de-Sinicization. This covers everything from battery chips to the most basic screws. GM executives have set a clear timetable for this, to complete this massive goal before 2027. It is noteworthy that GM's large-scale supply chain restructuring is not limited to China, but also involves countries such as Russia and Venezuela. However, without a doubt, China remains the country with the largest volume of parts supply on this restricted list. But what we must understand is that the absence of Chinese parts will lead to higher car prices. This is because China's advantages in this area are complete, well-established, and difficult to replicate. The products are made reliably, the upstream and downstream supply chains are fully integrated, the delivery efficiency is astonishingly fast, and massive scale effects support the pricing. However, once parts production is shifted to North America, it means that labor costs will increase at least threefold. The upstream supply chain is incomplete and needs to be built from scratch. Without a foundation of scale, the unit price will be difficult to reduce. Logistics will be more expensive, factory construction slower, and capacity expansion not quick. The final result is that cars will be sold at higher prices, and it is ordinary consumers like us who will ultimately pay the bill. To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.